Hello, everyone. This is Katharin here with Reel Chicago and Reel 360. Really excited about our next topic, which is casting. Here to shed a little bit of light on the topic is going to be Chicago's very own O'Connor Casting, David O'Connor and Joan O'Connor. Well, I love the backgrounds here.
Thanks.
I'm in Hawaii.
Cool. Yes, I'm on vacation right now.
So, welcome to Reel. Very excited to have you guys both here. Wanted to talk a little bit about casting with you, but first, tell me, how are you surviving during COVID?
Oh, it's definitely an exciting experience. Let me tell you, surviving fine. We're fine. It's wonderful. I'm glad I'm not in the hospital. I feel for all those people who are out there in that. So, in that sense, yes, absolutely wonderful.
Yes. David and I are brother and sister, so we don't live in the same home. So I'm used to seeing him literally every day. So that's been kind of hard, but otherwise we're doing great.
That's fantastic. And how about O'Connor Casting? Is things still kind of moving forward? Obviously, maybe not to the same degree, but still happening.
Yeah, I mean, business is still business, but there's no work going on. People aren't shooting anything, so there's not much for them to do. We did have one project at the beginning of this that was looking to actually shoot it remotely out of people's homes, so that was taken care of and done right away. And we could take on projects, but it would be very, very specialized on what they would be doing. The reason we were able to do the other one was because we were looking to shoot off their cell phones in those markets. So it was a very odd production.
Is that something you see more and more happening in the future, where people are going to be remotely sending footage into places for, let's say, advertising or films even?
No, not as far as finished product. I mean, I think it'll go on a bit. Well, as you're saying, if you're watching any advertising, it's popping up on some commercials and healthcare things and giving back to. And I think Dove may have something out there or some, but there's definitely ads that are being done like that. YouTube video they've always taken videos from other things and put that in advertisement. But I don't see them continuing on if they can avoid it. We were on a meeting today with production people who were just trying to gear up to start shooting again. And their hope is new advertisement. It's going to get pretty stale if people are just doing the same advertisement of people at home, shooting themselves and using that. It's not ideal for anybody.
That's really exciting to hear, I think, for everyone in the industry, that hopefully things will normalize back to the way they were and these productions can continue, safely in the future.
Hopefully, yeah.
It will be. I'm just noticing my bald little head with this backdrop. That's pretty funny.
Well, I mean, that's another thing too, all these Zoom meetings and things. I mean, that seems to be kind of the norm in here, but I mean, maybe things will just change again back to the way they were and people will be able to fly places. And you can actually go to Hawaii.
Yes, I would imagine that at first it's going to be where productions are going to stay as local as they possibly can, with as little, because when you get into advertising, it's the clients flying in, it's the creatives, it's the director potentially. So I would imagine they will try to stay local, keep it as safe as possible until this thing gets resolved.
And so the casting world, it's already, self-tapes are already popular, there's already casting networks and Actors Access. How much more in the digitalized world do you see us going in the casting world? Or do you see us kind of still keeping that one-on-one personalized feeling as something very important to casting? I mean, which way are we going to go? More self-tape, less self-tape? Are we going to keep doing online casting like casting networks? Are we going to keep going to O'Connor Casting? What's the future?
Well, the future in terms of during the COVID scare still, or
After?
Post. I definitely think the in-person auditions will return. They're just so much better. It's such a different experience. They're there, you can feel the energy, talent can interact with each other. With remote castings, you can't have more than one person in your audition. So post-COVID, we hope things go back to the way they were before, having actors come in.
No, well, there's just a huge difference between somebody who's going to self-tape, even if we are doing a Skype or a Zoom connection with them and giving them direction. It takes much longer if that process, and it's also much more intimate. And there's a lot of, clients are used to seeing the finished takes of something, but there's a lot that goes into it back and forth, a lot of bad takes and a lot of misdirection and a lot of understanding copy. So it's definitely much more give and take in in-person auditions. We could see many more people. We could typically audition much quicker. I don't think that's going to go away. Self-tape has always been, or not always, but has definitely been on a rise for, say, the last 10 years since internet and technology has gotten to that point. But it's a cheap way out. It's a quick way out. You're relying on actors to have the equipment at home. You're relying on them to actually understand the feeling and the mood of it. It's easier for film and TV auditions than it is for advertisement, unless you're doing a spokesperson copy or something very standard. But when you get into larger campaigns and those nuances, it's not that easy to convey. Casting directors are typically on a lot more creative than we're giving to the agents or actors. So that plays into what we're doing with the actors in the room.
And speaking of spaces, I was about to say, you guys have a lovely space down. I mean, I've been there, yay! But beautiful art on the walls, very comfortable space, lovely location. It would be a shame not to be able to utilize that in the future for castings, because it does feel a lot different having that safe space to go to. Sometimes you see a friend afterwards. You might see them in the room. It's really encouraging. The staff is really welcoming. You may not get that with a self-tape. And so, I mean, on the other end, it's nice to have that safe space.
Well, as you know, during COVID, the one thing we're all craving is in-person interaction. And nothing beats it. Nothing beats it. But our office, David was just talking this morning about how great our office is set up, because it's so large and it's just ours and is contained, that if people do have to come in during COVID, it's a safer space because people can be across, the building with each other, waiting for the audition.
There's plenty of square footage, at least in the waiting room and also in the audition rooms. Because I've been thinking through, what are we going to do with staff? What are we going to do with people checking in? How are we going to be able to do that in a safe way? We were like, what equipment do we have to order? And we don't plan on coming close to people, as well as they don't plan on wanting to be spoken to closely. So we have a better space to be able to make that happen when it's needed. And clients still, when we start getting into a callback situation, they may not be present in the building, but they will want that direction and that through a normalcy of a callback on their end. So while initial auditions may be self-taped, callbacks more than likely are going to be in studio.
Always in studio.
There's no always anymore.
Yeah.
I can't make anything blanket. This may change next week when we get some other directive from the government. But as it seems, more importantly, I don't think people are using a lot of common sense with things besides what, the government is giving. And a lot of it's just common sense. And we, of course, would have to staff up a little bit differently, and we would, of course, have to keep things cleaner than usual, and all those things that go into it. I know production companies, when they're getting into their shooting, productions are looking at many, many different levels, from wardrobe to makeup to production. Who's going to have PPE and who doesn't need to have it? Who's got to have masks on set? How are they going to put people off in groups? All that is being thought about on the production side. All we have to think about is how can we keep actors in a safe spot emotionally, so they can do their best work. And that's enough of not a hindrance for them, but it's definitely something that impacts their audition and their performance.
Mm-hmm.
They're being comfortable in a space. And productions are saying the same thing. We need to make the environment comfortable, because truly, when you get on set, the only ones who are going to definitely not have a face mask on during some times are the actors. Every other crew person could be having a face mask and everything, but the actors are going to be the only ones totally exposed when they're doing it. However, they're also the only ones who are exposing everybody else, if that's the case. So, temperature takings and things like that, when they come in, we just ordered some equipment today to be able to do that if need be.
That's very smart. I know that's what big warehouses, Amazon was talking about, doing things like that just to minimize sick people in the building at that time. That's very smart. So, thinking a little bit about casting, the way I look at casting, it's this bridge, this amazing bridge between production and talent. Tell me a little about your experience and how you have to juggle these two worlds at once.
Joan?
Why don't you take this one?
Okay. It's a very interesting bridge because I don't think a lot of actors actually realize how much goes on before they're actually coming into the audition, the selection process, and what we're going through as far as, you know, the creative side of things and why we're choosing them and how subjective that is. So we have to understand the director's view, we have to understand the client's view, the ad agencies, and get a good grasp of everything. You know, we're shopping for these folks. Our shopping is finding people. So we're trying to find the perfect baseline of people to bring in and let them bring their own skills and their abilities in. But it could be based on looks, it could be based on performance, it could be based on many, many factors. And that's really what the creative and the production side is giving us, the director's insight, because there are treatments that come out and that are 100 pages that involve everything from what directors of photography to what casting is doing to what they're going to be doing with the scripts or special effects or anything. And we have, we're privy to all that, which is important because we're understanding if it's going to, there's a lot more action going on in the back. If an actor is literally their only thing is going to be just give a look at the camera versus 30 seconds of talking. So all that is not written on the page or a script when somebody's getting it. And sometimes it's not written at all because they don't want them to know what the creative is. So we're the only ones who know what's going on with it. And they may put out a description on a character that may not be exactly where they're going, but we know where they're going when we're picking and choosing people, or know if we have freedom to change a role up and be creative with that, whether it's race, size, or age. Sex sometimes factors into it too.
So, what would you say your mission statement is at O'Connor Casting?
I think that's on the website. Quality casting done well perfectly. Something, something along those lines. I think it's just a lot of care that goes into it. It's nothing that's kind of just haphazard and thrown out there. There's a lot more business that goes into it than people actually realize. Besides all the caring that we have to do with the actors, there's hardcore. We have to do it this way. We have to think logically on this, and then there's this whole creative element to it that casting directors have to have with thinking who's going to make something out of a role and who's going to do something special with it, so the directors and team can work with them. So
you guys are brother and sister, right? We'll kind of go this direction now. What would you guys have normally done on Easter if you guys would celebrate it, or let's say Passover? What was your most recent holiday? What would you have done together?
Oh God, my sister, we have another sister, and she makes every holiday a festival. So we would have had egg coloring party with prizes, like major prizes. I know that David's wife particularly is very competitive when it comes to her eggs. So we would have done that, and then we would have had huge Easter baskets that she makes for the kids, and then we hide eggs that David packs with enough money to make anyone in town want to find these eggs.
That's for the kids, though.
Well, yeah, occasionally I find those eggs.
He did one time do an adult Easter egg hunt.
Let me tell you, it was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen, because it was for my two sisters and my mom. Kelsey wasn't involved, my wife, and
there were big bucks at stake.
Big bucks were in there. I just wanted to see what would happen, and it happened. I have it on tape. It's not pretty to watch, but I do watch it when I need a laugh.
We'll just throw that at the end of this video to make you guys look so much, better.
There was a lot of screaming, cursing, and punching, I think, might have been.
There was some physical aspects I wasn't comfortable with.
So what's the next big thing you guys are going to do as a family after this, do you think?
Oh my God.
And everyone can see each other for a few days. What you going to do?
It just depends on when this breaks. I know we'll have a huge dinner and we'll get together and, have fun with the kids and dogs. And
yeah, it's more, it doesn't matter what we're doing. It's just as long as we're all together. Oh my God. My kids are going crazy for hugs. Everyone's going nuts for just trying to see grandma and grandpa and get out of the house and do other things. So everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah.
It's nice that everybody's being supportive and doing videos and doing tutorials online and doing all their crazy things that they can to get by. And it's because every day everybody's going through some sort of depression or anxiety or what's to come.
What are you guys doing? What's your day to day right now? Like, how are you guys keeping your sanity?
Joan, are you keeping sanity? Joan literally is in her head on a beach right now, all the
I
time.
am. That's where I'm at. Right now, David's son is having a birthday next week, and they were going to go to medieval times, but they're not. So I am with other family members recreating a medieval times experience for Jude. My mom and her friends did this whole like Friar Tuck thing, and so I write. I'm a writer as well, so I do that, and I Zoom a lot and call David all the time. I miss him.
Yeah, I miss my family. I miss my sister. Literally every day we see each other, and she lives close by. So it's a relationship it feels further than when she lived in California.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And Dave, you're homeschooling, aren't you? You're doing.
Oh no, I don't even want to go there. That's a bad conversation. My wife just took him literally for a walk to get some air and to clear his head.
It's a different environment being home with the kids every day, isn't it?
It is.
So the last question I have is another actor question. We'll just wrap it up this way. What can actors be doing to prepare themselves for life after COVID right now?
I think it's the same thing that they could do beforehand in a different way. They could be always watching and learning and doing your history and seeing what's current and relevant in your field, whether it's watching films or watching TV shows or understanding the difference between a reality show versus theatrical, drama or comedy. And there's so much going on online. There's so many Zooms and meetings and things that are being recorded that people can get so much from. Keep themselves busy with it. If it's learning the computer, I just ran into a friend that he doesn't know how to use the computer. I'm like, you're stuck in your house for a month, and I know you have a computer. Just start watching tutorials. Anything you can do to get better at something down the road.
Yeah, a lot of the acting schools have online courses available. There's so many resources now. It's just keeping up with your craft, and they might need to change some headshots when they come back because everybody seems to be eating a lot.
I think everyone needs to change headshots. People have got to change their hair. I saw people dye their hair different colors. People are changing their bangs themselves, and it's not successful. Definitely a lot of beauty treatments after all this, I think.
Yes, we're going to work with agents hopefully soon when there's hope in sight of actually being able to see people are getting productions going again. We're going to be reaching out to them and trying to get something going in the community as far as to update us and update the other casting directors in town to who and what they look like, sound like.
Amazing. Well, that's really all I have for you guys. Thank you. Sorry about the surprise of it being.
No, that was, hey, I'm glad I had a background.
You guys okay with
going.
that? It's all right. I think the world would love to hear this conversation.
This was so fun.
This was a lot of fun. It was my first time, and so I feel really good that it was you guys. On a side note, I've been cast through O'Connor for an Amway commercial before in the past. So
shooting up in Michigan?
Shooting up in Michigan. Good gig. It went smoothly, and I appreciate your hard work on that one.
Terrific. I'm glad you got that.
Yeah.
Article should come out soon, and I will talk to you guys later.
Terrific.
Great.
You take care.
Thank you so much. Take
Bye.
care. Be well.
And there you have it, everybody. For now, this is Katharin with Reel Chicago and Reel 360 saying, see you later.